Hey guys, so we're doing this 2022 Chevy Traverse. It's a 3-row vehicle and we don't want to take up any space in the cubby, the trunk area. So we found this spot under here for the amplifier, but there's all these ridges and stuff, so the amp cannot sit in here properly unless you do something like that, which we don't want to do. So what we did instead is we made this template first, and then we bent this piece of aluminum. So we took this aluminum and we bend it, cut it to size and bent it. And the way this is gonna work is it slides under the rail for the one seat, and then there'll be a bolt over here. And the nice thing is the amp will now be mounted like that. The vent still has clear access to blow air AC to the back, but now the amp is up out of the way and basically takes up no usable space. The seat goes all the way to here, so your feet will never even come close to hitting it. Plus we'll have the fins on this side, so even if you kicked it or whatever, you wouldn't damage the amp. All the wiring and everything is on the opposite side. So this definitely takes a lot longer. We take the time to make brackets and mount it, and also put it out of the way so you're not losing any space. So it's one of those, it can be done correct or it can be done fast. It's hard to get both, right? So can you do both? Yes, but it's very difficult unless it's a car that you've done before and you've already built the brackets, you've already built everything, which is a lot of what we try to do for some of the vehicles. But this is the right way to do it without giving up any space, especially on a brand new car. I mean, you're talking, this is a 2022, so we want the stereo to outlast the truck, right? So we want the install to be as solid as the vehicle is, right? Typically we use a composite plastic for something like this, but in this particular case the aluminum lends itself better because we can bend it, and it's also much more rigid in a thinner material, right? So to get the same rigidity that we get out of the aluminum, we would have to double or triple in size of the thickness, and we really don't have it to give. Also, we want it to slide under the rail so that we don't lift the rail any, because the other option would have been to unbolt the rail, put it in there and bolt the rail back down. That would, compress it, but ideally we don't want to change anything in the vehicle, especially on a brand new vehicle. We try to leave the car as stock as possible and not make any permanent changes. So the aluminum lends itself really well in this application because it's thin, rigid, and we can still bend it and it'll hold its shape and really work well for this application. So another obviously benefit of this is that it keeps it up off the floor. I mean, we're probably 2 inches off the ground. So again, we live in Chicago here, so we have salt, snow, heavy rains, all this slush, all kinds of stuff. So by keeping it up elevated off the floor, it also helps protect the amplifier from getting destroyed. The other nice benefit of the aluminum is with the amplifier mounted to it, the amp gets hot, and this is the heat sink. Well, this extra aluminum will also help dissipate some of the heat because it's going to transfer from the case to the aluminum, and it'll also help the amp stay a little bit cooler. Hondo's got the thing all prepped, so as you can see, it's all prepped. Everything's on one plate. So this will go in, we'll show you that once it's in, but all the wires are dressed, everything's mounted down, the amp is bolted, and then this plate will actually be bolted with this riv nut, plush nut. It's going to be bolted to the stock rail, and we'll show you that once it's installed. So this is the aluminum piece we started with, but we painted it black so it just blends in, so you don't see this shiny piece of aluminum under the seat, and it'll just blend into the car. When the seat's back, you won't even be able to tell it's in there. All right, so just wanted to show you the final product. So as you can see, here's the amplifier, and then we have an LC2i Pro, which is the interface that we're using to correct the signal on this radio. So even on this Chevy Traverse, it's a base model audio. So that basically, it's just 4 speaker wires, but even though it's just base audio, they're still doing, they're rolling off the bass. So if you just add a sub to this car without adding any way to compensate or fix the signal, it doesn't matter how good the system is, it's never gonna hit. So we need to use this LC2i Pro to help fix the signal, what the factory is trying to limit to help protect the cheap factory speakers from blowing up. So this corrects that and allows us to amplify it and get a ton of bass out of it. But I don't know if you can see, so the bracket slides under the seat rail, and then over here there's a 4mm bolt, so that bolts the plate to the other rail. So now, and when you slide the seat back, completely disappears, and you're not going to be able to kick it or, you know, destroy it, and your feet still have plenty of room to fit under there. And so we added a 12-inch audio mobile. So as you can see, this box is pretty small. This is a 12-inch sub in here, so we'll show you that. So if you flip it up, it's a 12-inch audio mobile sub in one of our down firing enclosures. So we got these little legs on them, so that obviously it stilts the woofer off the floor. And then, as always, we put one of our PowerWorks connectors on here, so that if the client ever wants to, they can remove the box and not have to worry about shorting it out or the wires touching. And the thing is, the nice thing about these is they're keyed, so they can only go in one way. So, and then all you do, lay it back down, tuck it in the corner there, and you're good to go.